Hi there, this is Joanne from TrueAuthenticPower.com from Tapping.me, and I'm also the creator of the program Catapulting to Confidence. I wanted to do an audio tapping today on safety because I think when people say the word safety, there are different meanings that different people can have, and yet there might be an overview of feeling safe in the world or just safe with all the events going on. Where am I safe? How am I safe? Do you have an undercurrent of feeling unsafe? But I want to talk about different aspects of safety, not just world safety and what's going on, because things have kind of gotten pretty nutty and bizarre in our culture, in our world. And a lot of those things that make us feel unsafe start way before we realize what's going on in the world. So, changes can make you feel unsafe. Uncertainty can make you feel unsafe. Uncertainty in your mind or constantly replaying episodes or things that happen to you. I want to talk about how those things can get started early on or through a traumatic event. We're not going to talk about world safety here in this audio. We're going to talk about more of how things got locked and linked early on or through a traumatic episode. Now, those of you who have listened to some of my talks and presentations, webinars, have heard me talk about the negative MEEPs, which I coined as being modeling before the age of 7, emotions, emotional upsets that get stuck, and patterns that develop as a result. I want to go back to the earliest times that you can remember because that really starts to build the foundation of everything else and how well and how safe you feel in the world. Could you trust and feel safe with those people that you were supposed to be able to trust and feel safe with? That means parents, that means siblings, that means family, school, mentors, teachers, church leaders. Any of those people have an impact on your foundation growing up. And depending on how you view them, what episodes you had with them, how they may have scared you or put you into uncertainty can create a world of feeling unsafe. Now, this is one of the hierarchy of needs. It's the second after food, clothing, shelter. Safety is a big deal. And when it's been rocked early on, if you don't find a way to turn that around or dissolve the anchors, the things that you have linked together with feeling unsafe, you may go through the rest of your life replaying those episodes, replaying how what you saw affected you. Even if it didn't happen to you, if it happened to someone else, you can be affected. It doesn't have to be your trauma. It doesn't have to be what happened to you. So I wanted to do some talking about this and some sharing about this because I think it's kind of misunderstood and blown over, just kind of jumped over, and it's really a huge deal. Think about it. It's the second level in the hierarchy of needs of feeling safe, feeling protected, feeling like you can move around in the world and know that someone's got your back, that you're being protected, that you're being taken care of. And it doesn't matter your age of how old you are now. If your feeling of safety was rocked at some earlier point in time, when you start to dissolve the core of that, a lot of other things become more safe, feel more safe because you've taken out the trauma. Now, I want to just talk a bit about trauma because people think that when you're unsafe, you have to have some gigantic, over-the-top traumatic event. That may have happened that way for some people. But it can also be not what you would consider in early childhood. If somebody really scared you that you could trust with their voice, with their attitude, with their look, that in a little child can start a pattern of, oh, I'm not good enough. I don't feel safe enough. They don't love me anymore. And as a little kid, that starts to rock your whole world. What do I have to do? Who do I have to be? How do I have to handle this from now on? Children are very resourceful of how to make people that they love accept them, approve of them, how they have to maneuver. We're very smart as children to figure out how to be safe with those people that maybe now have made us question that. The problem with that is that a lot of us are still using the same tactics in our adult years that we did as a 4, 5, 6, 10, 12-year-old child without adult skills, without knowing how to do that. And many adults growing up doing the same thing, the people pleasing, the patterns that emerge, the procrastination, the avoidance, all of those kind of things are patterns that develop from trying to avoid pain or trying to stay out of trouble. That's why I wanted to address this. It's a big issue. It's a maybe misunderstood issue, because safety is not just about world events and what's going on and will I be safe in a school, in a theater, on a plane, wherever I go. It is also about, how did you grow up feeling safe? Could you trust those people around you? And if the answer is no, or you have some episodes that are stuck in your mind, it doesn't mean you'll never be able to reverse that or change it or release it. It just means you might have some unwinding to do. And that's why I wanted to do this today. It's so beneficial when you can clear out those earlier episodes that taught you, oh, watch out for this person or watch out for that person. And if they're members of your family, you may go through your whole life saying, I can't rely on family. I'm on my own. I'm an island. Well, are we really supposed to be an island, or are we supposed to be able to work together in teams with help? Help may be a 4-letter word for you. If you can't trust those people that you wanted to go to for help. I had episodes with that, and I've mentioned this in other recordings that I've done, where my first grade teacher was not kind. She did not reach out to help with kindness in her voice. She would hit you with a ruler. Well, okay, that kind of imprints. Let me tell you, that imprinted a lot. I'm on my own. I can't go for help. Watch out for authority. There were a bunch of things that got intertwined with that. And though I graduated through 4 years of college, my school experience was never fun. I did what I had to do to get through, but, some of that is supposed to be joyful. It's not all supposed to be nose to the grindstone. There's an element of enjoying school and enjoying those kind of younger year events that should be intertwined with fun and play and balanced with work and striving and all those other characteristics too. So I want to do some tapping to help get you into a safety mode, because you may not have ever thought that undercurrent of worry, that undercurrent of stress, that undercurrent of, will I please them? Are they okay with what I've done? That can replay over and over in your mind. And actually, I delve really deeply into that into the program Catapulting to Confidence. But suffice it to say, right now we're going to do some tapping on some of those things you may recall. So I want you to take a minute, take a deep breath, and just kind of ease into how or why you may be feeling unsafe. How does that show up in your life? What hoops do you jump through? What fears or life experiences do you avoid because you're aware of, oh, but I won't be safe? Think about any fear that you have, any fear. Fear of relationships, fear of wealth, success, happiness, love, fill in the blank. Whatever it is you have a fear of or a resistance to, that's an even better word, of a resistance to. It may be because that's just not the avenue or path for you. But if it's something that could enhance your life, back that down, and underneath that fear is a level of feeling unsafe for some reason. It's not okay. It's not all right. They will take advantage. I will have to become someone I'm not. All the expectations, the judgment, the disapproval, all of that feeds into feeling unsafe. Think about it. Every fear you have really boils down to, will I be safe? So where does that come from? Some of those things are there to protect you, and they're good to keep. But if you are dealing with an episode that replays in your mind or is running the undercurrent of your energy, there will be relief, reward, joy, happiness, fulfillment, a sense of calm in your energy that you may never have had before when you can release that, get to the bottom of it, and understand it in a different way. There is a saying that they did the best that they could. And while those are nice words, if you don't understand that in your energy and subconscious, and you are still holding fear and worry and have to avoid certain personalities, as soon as someone raises their voice, do you get all in a bunch inside? As soon as someone rejects you, do you go into overdrive to try to get their approval and their love? Those are all replays of something that happened early on, and it's linked to safety. So I want to do some tapping. I'm going to start on the karate chop point. I want you to call to mind something that you replay often. Do you try to get their approval? Do you try to show how important you are? Do you try to avoid certain personalities or conflict because you won't feel safe? All of that, any of those, are running your life in a big way that you may never have been aware of before. And that's why I wanted to do this. Safety is not just about the bigger world picture and some of the crazy stuff that's going on in our world today. A lot of it just even triggers the deeper stuff that I'm talking about. This could have happened when you were in utero. If your mother experienced some trauma, you would feel the vibration of that. So it's never too early to go back and find out if you've had this your entire life, that undercurrent of feeling unsure, unsafe, uneasy. What was your mom's pregnancy like with you? Was she in turmoil? Because that can be downloaded too. Do you remember a certain incident growing up with any of those people I mentioned earlier? Call to mind. And when you have something in mind, let's start tapping. Take another deep breath. And as you release that, go to the karate chop point on the side of your hand. I'm going to assume you know how to tap. If you don't, you can go to my intro to tapping/anxiety. I describe more about tapping and how this can happen. So if you need some help of guidance of how to learn how to tap, there's a different video that you can go to. But I'm going to assume you know how to tap, and you are responsible for your own feelings here and any emotions that may come up. I'm not drudging up anything that hasn't already been there. It might just be bringing it to the surface. And if you get overwhelmed, just keep tapping. Just keep tapping on, I'm so scared, or I feel worried, or I feel unsafe, because this can bring up big things. And I'm not there with you to be able to know how to comfort you directly. So word of advice, if you've got something big coming up, you may want to pause, just tap to calm down that initial feeling and get some professional help with it. All right, so here we go. Even though I'm remembering this event or this feeling, repeat after me. I do carry this uncertain and unsafe feeling in my body. There may be a feeling that I don't know where I can be safe or how. Or that if I don't have a protector with me, I'm not sure I'm okay. I want to love, honor, and respect all of these feelings. Even though I may carry an uncertain, unsafe feeling with me all the time. And it may have been prompted by a long ago event with someone in my family, with someone in my school. Maybe I was bullied and didn't know who to go to or how to handle it. And I'm giving that part of me a voice right here and now, saying, I understand, and that's been hard. And I would love to reconcile this feeling and release it from being a trigger in my life. Because I want to love, honor, and respect my life. Now go to the eyebrow point. All this fear and uncertainty I hold in my body. Side of the eye. And whenever it gets re-triggered, I go into overdrive. Under the eye. Maybe my household was uncertain growing up. Under the nose. Maybe I didn't know who I could trust growing up. Chin. Maybe those that I thought I could trust, collarbone, were not safe or trustworthy for me. under the arm, and it put a fear and a sizzle in my energy. Wrist, some shock that might have gone through my cells. Top of the head, creating an imbalance in my energy. Eyebrow, linking a discomfort of feeling unsafe. Side of the eye, developing a pattern of worry. Under the eye, anxiety. Under the nose, tension. Chin, bracing for the worst. Collarbone, and if a specific memory is coming up for me. Under the arm, what did I see or hear? Wrist, what was the look on their face? Top of the head, what was the tone in their voice? Eyebrow, but that was a long time ago. Side of the eye, and that's exactly why it's important. Under the eye, because it built a foundation for me. Under the nose, and if my foundation is shaky. Chin, and those emotions and emotional upsets are linked into my energy. Collarbone, that may be why I have this anxiety and worry. Under the arm, well, how am I going to release that? Wrist, I've had it a long time. It's part of me. Top of the head, what if it's not? Eyebrow, what if I can unlink and unhook? Side of the eye, from these episodes or memories. Under the eye, and if they're too painful or too scary. Under the nose, my subconscious knows what I'm referring to. Chin, so as I think of a pattern of worry, anxiety, or procrastination. Collarbone, I'm talking to my subconscious right now. Under the arm, and explaining it with different avenues. Wrist, where do I feel that energy in my body? Top of the head, what shape does it have? Now, it might not have a shape, but just go along with it because you might be able to describe it that way. Eyebrow, what color is it? Side of the eye, do I hear a sound with it? Under the eye, do I see an image with it? Under the nose, that energy that's been stuck and stored. Chin, developing beliefs that make me feel unsafe. Collarbone, or emotional upsets that got locked and linked in. Under the arm, what if I can say, I hear, feel, and see you? Wrist, and by doing this tapping, top of the head, I'm addressing it on the mind, body, spirit level. Eyebrow, why could it be easy for me to release this pattern? Side of the eye, and still remain safe. Under the eye, we're not talking about releasing all fear here. Under the nose, because if there is true danger, Chin. I want my subconscious mind and energy to kick in. Collarbone. But that's different than an energy that's just running our lives. Under the arm. And I wonder how I could be safe and release this old memory. Wrist, and program in what I want instead. Top of the head. That's not possible. But what if it is? Now take a deep breath. Now I got into some heavy explanation here because I want you to know that there are other reasons why you may have developed an anxiety pattern. If your mother was full of anxiety when she was carrying you, you would have most likely oftentimes picked up that same pattern. If you saw some traumatic things when you were little. Now think about trauma to a little child. At 3, it could be very different. It could be somebody just yelling and it freezes them on the spot. You're not going to necessarily feel that way as an adult if you hear someone yell, although it can trigger you. So I want you to look a little deeper. Go back and tap with this. When you think of certain events, go to the color, the shape, the size, the feeling, where is it in your body, and the tone of voice that you heard, the sights that you may have seen. And I also want to mention that something like food allergies can also be linked. So also include if there's a taste that you have about a memory, because that can affect you as well. This is not to traumatize you or to take you back into every single episode that you ever did, but when you can get to the foundation of what might have started that pattern, started that emotion or emotional upset, created that modeling before the age of 6 or 7, a lot of times you can break open the pattern and feel free. So I wanted to do this because I think some people misunderstand how safety gets shaken up and the replay keeps happening and happening, and it makes our lives miserable. So if you can unlearn that, unhook from that, and actually program in what you want, that's a different audio, but it is possible to do that. So this is Joanne from TrueAuthenticPower.com. I hope this helps. Share if you know someone that might benefit from this. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if that so moves you and brings up a desire in you. And until our paths cross again, bye-bye for now.